Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you may be, or good evening or good night. I am finally doing a little video for you of these magic folders that I promised you I'd have a go at showing you. Now look, I first saw these as teacher folders and they'd put the story on the inside and then you'd flip it open and you'd see the picture for the story, or they do it where they ask questions and then you open it and you see the picture of the questions, and then you can use the back second hidden flip as well. So on this one, I used it to put notes in the back, and that it could be secret journaling spots, and inside, secret map and that sort of thing. So look, you can have a lot of fun with them. Plus you can change and play about with the different ways that you cut your lines. So here I cut them at an angle and it still works. So do have a play. This is Jen at JensArtyInclinations, a place to create, share and play. All right, so each of them have two little strips of paper that you weave in and out. You weave one under and over, and the other one over and under. And this is what kind of creates the magic. So now that I've taken those out, if we fold it in half, you'll see that you're just cutting those little sections to the halfway point, and then those are the pieces that flip one way or the other. So, all right, here's the one with the slightly different cuts. Same theory, but when I've cut it in half, I've just cut them at an angle. So, yeah, quite simple to have a bit of a play about the size of what you've got. Now, you have 4 sides that you're dealing with. I'll just show you this way so that everyone can see it laid out, but it really is much, much easier as you're putting it together to see. So, if you have a look, you can see the image is on those pieces, and then if you flip it over, you can also see that the other side of the image is on those. So you do end up with 4 pieces. So that's very confusing when you say it like that. But some people, think differently, and so sometimes seeing that structure of how it's actually put together, that might help it click for some people. So I just thought I'd show it to you all pulled apart. But we'll actually make our first one, and each of those are a separate part of the picture that you're pasting down. Okay, all right, now let's get into this. You can do this with pretty much any size of paper. You're going to make it a folder, so you can do it with just a regular A4 piece of paper. Just to make it easy for measurements, I'm going to show you on a 12 by 12. So I'm making it 8 inches across. I'm working with inches because it's just easier to work out. And then what I'm doing is I'm simply scoring it. So I'm going to score it so that I can make the front 2 flaps and then the halfway point as well. Okay, so I'm folding it at 3, and that will form one of the front flaps. And then I score it again, another 3 inches across at 6, and that gives me my halfway point. And then I'm going to flip mine around and just do 3 in from the edge again. So each of those are half and then the quarter mark across whatever size paper that you have. All right, so then I'm scoring it. Now, in the middle, you want to make sure that fold works really well both ways. So fold it one way and then, press it down. Fold it the other way, then press it down. Do that a few times because that's the bit that will flip in and out constantly. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going one way, then I'm going the other, just making sure they're really nice solid scores. Now I'm working out where I want to cut. And so I just did score lines across here, and I did them at 2, 4 and 6 because my piece was 8 inches high, so I did it at the halfway mark and the quarter mark. But remember, you can cut these wherever you want. If you do make them even, it makes it a bit easier when you're cutting your actual picture. So that's why I did it this way. And yeah, score mark was just an easy way to, give myself that line to follow. So then you can use a knife, I'm using my scissors, and you can just cut those little score marks. So then notice I'm only doing it to that halfway mark. So that's how you'll have your little pieces looking. All you're doing now is you're just cutting 2 strips so that you can weave them in and out. So half the length of my 12-inch piece is 6 inches. So I'm cutting 6 inches. And then I'm folding it in half, and I'm just going to ink that edge so that I can use my trimmer to cut along a really clear line. So there you go, just inking the edge, popping it under my trimmer. That means each of my pieces are exactly 3 inches. But because if you have a look when we pop them in, that will be really tight when we're flipping this and folding this. So what I tend to do is I just grab both pieces and I slice down ever so slightly, like just the thinnest of thinnest strips, and that means that they fold more freely. So you can see how that's a bit of a extra tight squeeze to put those in. And then when I fold them out, they're a little bit lumpy, a little bit bumpy. So yeah, I'll take them out again. They do fit, but it's just that it'll fold more easily once you make them the tiniest bit more narrow. So just like that, taking off a real slither, and then they fold really nicely and really freely. So when you put them in, this one I've gone under and over, under and over. So the next one I'll put in over and under, over and under. So it's just an old-fashioned weave. You're just weaving paper. And that's another thing that you can play with. I haven't played with it yet, but you could do doubles of these or triples of these and so forth. You could have a whole long strip if you like. So as I say, I've seen teachers do them just with manila folders. So that gives you a bit of an idea. And there you are. We're folding really nicely and the back's folding really nicely too. So we've got all of our 4 sides. The inside 2, and when we fold the whole thing in half, we've got the back 2 as well. Alrighty, so now I've got little pictures and I've cut them already into their 8 sections. And what you want to do is you want to fold it open and you glue it down that way. Really, this is the easiest way to keep a track of it, you will find. Now, when I'm cutting my actual images, again, I cut them all just slightly shorter than the whole length and slightly more narrow than the whole length, because then they fit in really nicely. So you just glue them all down like this, open on your first picture, the way that it would be folded. Now I'm going to do the inside fold and I'm going to do the same again. I've got my 8 pieces that I'm gluing on the inside. This time I'm doing a map, like a secret map. We're going to find a map to treasure. So you can imagine how much you can play with these. And that is your first section. Really easy. So look, on the back, all I did was I actually glued down again another image, and you'll notice this one, I glued it wrongly. I had already stuck down a couple of pieces, but it's okay. It still looked fine. So, don't worry too much about your mistakes. If it's a really obvious picture, you're not going to get it wrong. If it's not a really obvious picture like mine wasn't, then you'll get it right. Okay, now I'm just doing my cover, and I haven't done the inside of the back because this is the one that I decided I'd leave it blank, and then that could be secret journaling spots. So I'm just doing a little cover, adds a little bit of thickness to the actual page. Apologies for flipping between 2 different pieces, but you'll still get the same principle. Now look, sometimes you do have to be careful about accidentally gluing pieces together. I did that there, but that's all right. I just inked it over and it gives it a bit of an extra rustic edge. Mistakes, we should just embrace them. They just make it more individual, don't they? So there's the back of that little one, that it's a journaling note inside. All right, that's pretty much it. So now I'm just going to decorate just to show you, how it can look all finished up. Inside this one is a little secret map, and on the back is an image, and inside that image is a little secret journaling spot, or lots of journaling little spots. All right, so I'm just doing the cover. I decided I'd use words around it, just a little saying, and then I cut them up, to make it a bit more interesting. Faffed and faffed to work out how it should look. But in the end, I cut this lovely circle label in half that, was a bit of advertising or something that just came in one of those packs that you often pick up from places. And I popped that in the middle and put all the little words around it. And yeah, I like the effect, quite simple in the end. So making sure both of the pieces are just lined up with each other, that was probably the hardest bit. Sticking down the words, and, it was just a random saying. And I love the look of words like this. This was from somebody's printable, but I actually, often will type things up. I've got an old typewriter, and it's really fun to type up, different words or sayings or things just to give it a bit of a, more authentic, vintagey feel. And look, all I'm doing here is I'm just pressing down to make sure everything's stuck down nicely. Now, I thought to finish this one off, I'd just pop thumb holes in the front. So I put a little half circle on one side, and then I used a pen, and that way I could line up my punch on the other side. Look, I still got it slightly not quite completely lined up. I'm a bit slap hazard with how I measure, but it looks fine. So there we are. This is the one we made together, and you can see, open it up, and then you can flip in and see the map inside, the secret hidden map. Fold it in half the other way, and then you've got some secret notes you can write, so some secret journaling spots. So that's how I did that one, and I'll flip through the other two that I've got here for you as well. Check out the description below. Remember, this is the one that I just did angled cuts instead. So yeah, play about, have a good play. But yeah, in description below, I'll put links to the other couple of videos that I have on this. And then this is the one that I had done very carefully, and I forgot to hit record. So there you are. That on the back, I just made it all quite hidden so that inside it was a secret map on the back with a different image inside. Take care, everyone, and I will see you real soon. I'd love it if you could leave me a comment below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw today. And of course, please subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you next time. And in the meantime, keep creating. Enjoy!